And guys, what is going on? This is the Club of the Man 1993 coming at you for the next edition of my Royal Rumble Retro Recap and Review Series as I take a look back at the 2003 Royal Rumble match. I'll be recording both 2003 and 2004 tonight. Maybe get them up before I go to bed tonight. If not, definitely tomorrow morning. But I want to get these two out of the way. I haven't watched any more since I watched 3 yesterday. I just had a ton on my plate. More come up this week I had to get taken care of, so I didn't want to watch too many Royal Rumbles, get too far ahead of myself, and not lose track of what all happened where. So that's why I stopped for a second, got what I need to get done, and now I'm doing these reviews to get caught up. So tomorrow, I'm going to take a day off because I literally did a ton of work all week. Got a lot accomplished, so I deserve a nice, well-deserved Friday off. So tomorrow, as I have nothing else going on, I'm going to be doing more Royal Rumble reviews and getting levels of Shabs 2000 out of the way also. So I want to get back into getting that walkthrough done as well, so I can move on to other Let's Plays as well. So the 2003 Royal Rumble match was the first year, not only under the WWE, since it transferred from the WWF after the issue with Worldwide Fun, and then also this was the first year also of the brand split. So we had 15 superstars from Raw and 15 from SmackDown in this Royal Rumble match. As far as the match itself, it wasn't bad, but it did kind of have that spark missing to it. Like the middle of the match also, there's constantly like 10 people in the match. It just didn't quite flow as well as the past Royal Rumbles have as well. We had some good star power in there also, some other fresh guys in there as well. We had Shawn Michaels back for the first time since 1997 or 98, one of those 2 years. But the last time he was in the Royal Rumble match was the last time he won in 1996. The Stone Cold era was coming to an end. It was just towards the end also of The Rock's time in the WWE before going on off to Hollywood. So we're kind of like transitioning out of the Attitude Era in there, but some more upcoming stars, more recent ones today were coming in. Chris Jericho still on the rise. We have John Cena make his first appearance in the Royal Rumble match. We had Batista. Taker and Kane are still around. So we still have some good stars around still in this Rumble match. But to me, it wasn't quite as good. And also, the winner of this Royal Rumble match also played big into an effect later in WrestleMania this year. And also, well, unfortunately, this is one of the first 2 years he had until he returned in 2012. And you'll know who I'm talking about now when we get into this Rumble match. So let's talk about the 2003 Royal Rumble match. It took place on January 19th, 2003 at the Fleet Center in Boston, Massachusetts. Of course, always, the winner gets a championship match at WrestleMania. And since it was the year of the brand split, the winner would face the champion of their brand. So we're going to start off here, and now since we have a brand split now, I will mention which stars were on Raw and which ones were on SmackDown. So let's go for it. Starting off with enter number 1 was Shawn Michaels, who was from Raw. And number 2 from Raw was Chris Jericho, who they're both in the midst of a feud right now. Several times these guys feud, not like their 2008 feud though. That was awesome feud. So they start off the match together. And then number 3 was from Raw was Christopher Nowinski. He came in, but then there were weapons that did get involved in this match also a couple times as well. And then I think Michaels was busted open. He was eliminated. Michaels didn't for his first Royal Rumble match in quite some time. He was still kind of limited also at this time because they weren't sure how much he could wrestle yet before he did like a full, went back on a full schedule again. Michaels only lasted about 2 minutes and 31 seconds though in this match. So it was a good angle though to continue on their feud though as well between Jericho and Michaels. So Michaels got eliminated by Jericho early in the match. Number 4 from SmackDown, his first Royal Rumble match as well, was Rey Mysterio, followed by SmackDown star Edge at number 5. And then from Raw at number 6 was Christian. And number 7 from SmackDown was Chavo Guerrero. And Rey Mysterio would eliminate Christopher Nowinski. And then Jericho would then eliminate Rey Mysterio following up afterwards. So they're both gone pretty quickly. Number 8 was Tajiri from SmackDown. As you don't remember, he just recently was back in the WWE in the cruiserweight division, but an injury happened and he just left. So Tajiri had a brief run also earlier in WWE. So he was here on the SmackDown brand at number 8 in the 2003 Royal Rumble. Number 9 was Bill DeMott. Then number 10 from Raw, we had Tommy Dreamer. Came out, of course, with his garbage cans and whatnot. Laid out some attacks as well. Helped Edge eliminate Bill DeMott, but then Jericho and Christian would then throw the garbage cans on Dreamer and beat him around with them with the kendo sticks, and they would eliminate Dreamer. So Tommy Dreamer didn't last too long in the match, and then Jericho would also eliminate Tajiri. And I think he also, at some point in his match, he just spit out his green mist, whatever heck it was. So he has a couple eliminations there. Number 11 was B2, well, Bull Buchanan, but he was now known as B2 or B Squared, whatever the heck it is. I think, yeah, B Squared, from SmackDown. But he wouldn't last long as Edge would eliminate him, and then Edge would also eliminate Chavo Guerrero. But then Edge and Christian and Jericho did team up a little bit because they were buddies in this match, but then Jericho turned on Christian in this match, and, well, I should say fully turned on him, but he eliminated both Edge and Christian at the same time. So I believe Jericho was the only participant in the Rumble left at this time. He had a pretty good showing in this Rumble. Number 12 was RVD. He was on Raw. Number 13 was Matt Hardy. I can't remember if it was this year. Yeah, this year. Matt Hardy was on SmackDown because him and Jeff were on separate brands, but this is when he was a heel and he was doing the whole Matt Fax gimmick. He came out number 13. Number 14 was, rest in peace to him, Eddie Guerrero, who was part of the La Familia, or their tag team was called, with Chavo Guerrero. He came out number 14. He was on SmackDown also. Number 15 from Raw, Jeff Hardy. Him and Matt went at it a little bit in here. Number 16 was Rosie from Raw. 17 from Raw was Test. And we haven't had any eliminations since right before RVD came out. So the ring was getting kind of stacked and a little slow during this time. Wasn't really too exciting. Number 18. First time the Ruthless Aggression era was in the Royal Rumble match as John Cena came out in a Houston Astros outfit. He cut a pretty good rap, I shall say. He was on SmackDown this time. Came out number 18. Number 19 from SmackDown was Charlie Haas, one half of Team Angle. And then RVD would eliminate Jeff Hardy. I believe was trying to hit a Swanton Bomb, and then or I can't remember how RVD eliminated him. I know he got eliminated here. Number 20 from SmackDown was Rikishi, and I don't think we have too many more years left of Rikishi. Speaking of Samoans, number 21 was Jamal, who would later be re-debut as Umaga. Rest in peace to him as well. Jamal, this time he was on Raw. Number 22 from Raw is Kane, and then he would eliminate Rosie. Number 23 from SmackDown was the other half of Team Angle, which was Shelton Benjamin. He came out at number 23. Number 24 was Booker T. He would eliminate Eddie Guerrero. Booker T was on Raw during this time. Number 25 from SmackDown, we have A-Train. During this time, HBK returned. And to continue the angle with Jericho, and he attacked him, and because of the distraction though and the attack, it caused Jericho to be eliminated by Test. So Jericho, who had been in there for quite some time, let me see here. Jericho was in there for 38 minutes and 54 seconds. I believe that was the longest in this match. Had a dominating heel performance, but HBK came out them too. They have their match at WrestleMania 19 that year. So that's what we had that. Number 26 was Maven, who was on Raw. Actually, the next several from Raw, the last two on SmackDown. So this was Maven. Number 27 was Goldust. He didn't last too long though. He was on Raw at the time, by the way. He was eliminated by a Team Angle, Benjamin Haas, and then Booker T was also eliminated by Benjamin Haas also. At this time. Number 28 from Raw, we had Batista. The first Rumble Batista, despite the fact that he was still kind of green, they gave him a decent showing in this Royal Rumble match. And he would go in there and he would eliminate Test and Rikishi. Number 29 from SmackDown. We didn't know him as this at the time, but he was the Beast incarnate, Brock Lesnar, who was a babyface actually on SmackDown Live. He came in, he eliminated Benjamin and Haas, Team Angle, and then he would also have a nice like F5 on Matt Hardy to eliminate him. So he went there, already had 2 eliminations. Number 30 was The Undertaker, who had returned from injury. He came out number 30. He was on SmackDown. He would wreak havoc as well, eliminating Cena. He eliminated Jamal. He would then eliminate Maven to get back him from having a last. They teased an elimination from him again, from Maven eliminating Undertaker again, just like they did in 2002. But that didn't happen again, as this time Undertaker was a baby face now. Undertaker would eliminate Maven, and then Kane and RVD would team up to eliminate the A-Train, but then Kane would, turn his back on RVD because he's every man for himself, and he would eliminate him. So the final 4 was Taker, Kane, Batista, and Lesnar. Started off by having some, good showdowns as well. And also, there's one point in this match where they did tease, Brock Lesnar and Undertaker, staring at each other. And it gives me chills thinking, oh, in years to come. I mean, I believe they did have another feud, like, during Brock's first run in WWE, but it made me still thinking, oh, this is the guy that's going to end the streak eventually. Even though I wasn't completely for it when Brock let it happen, but just thinking about what would happen in the future, I'm like, ooh, showdown right here, pretty much when I saw that happen. But yeah, the final 4 was Taker, Kane, Batista, and Lesnar. Batista got eliminated by Taker, and then Kane also got eliminated by Taker, but then instead of Lesnar getting like a nice, like, fancy, like, when he's got some cheap looking, toss out on Taker, for Lesnar to get the victory. So again, it was a decent Rumble. It was solid, but it wasn't really one of the more exciting ones we've seen from like 2000 to 2002, right, like 2001 also, or not like next year's Royal Rumble 2004, which is, in my opinion, either the best or the second best Royal Rumble we've seen of all time. So Brock Lesnar wins the Royal Rumble. He would go on to WrestleMania to challenge Kurt Angle for the SmackDown World Championship, whatever it was called at the time. So the statistics for this, let's start off again. I'll go through again the entrance and their times. From Raw, Shawn Michaels, 231, no eliminations. Chris Jericho's on Raw, 3854 with 6 eliminations. Christopher Nowinski from Raw, 437, no eliminations. Rey Mysterio from SmackDown, 555, 1 elimination. Edge, 1103, 3 eliminations from SmackDown. Number 6 from Raw, Christian, 903, 1 eliminations. Entered 7 to 9 from SmackDown, which was Chavo Guerrero, 710, no eliminations. Tajiri, 541, no eliminations. Bill DeMott, 213 with no eliminations. All from SmackDown. From Raw, Tommy Dreamer, 48 seconds eliminations. From SmackDown, B Squared, formerly known as Bull Buchanan, 24 seconds eliminations. RVD from Raw, number 12, 32-56, 2 eliminations. He had a strong showing. From SmackDown, we have Matt Hardy with 27-13, no eliminations. So again, this was during the Matt Fax time. And Eddie Guerrero, also from SmackDown, was 16-29 with no eliminations. Numbers 15 to 17 were also from Raw. We had Jeff Hardy at 7 minutes and 26 seconds, no eliminations. Rosie, 10-16 with no eliminations. Test, 18-45, 1 elimination. John Cena, first 18 to 20 for SmackDown Superstars versus John Cena. 1938, no eliminations. For a first Royal Rumble, Cena didn't really do too much besides, cut a decent rap. And Charlie Haas from Team Angle, 17-17, 2 eliminations. And Rikishi, 14-10, no eliminations. From Raw, number 21, Jamal, 1607 eliminations, and 22, also from Raw, was Kane, 2024, 3 eliminations, not too bad. Number 23, from SmackDown, we have Shelton Benjamin, 1055, 2 eliminations. He did a few eliminations with his tag team partner, Charlie Haas. Number 24 from Raw, we got Booker T, 620, 1 elimination. From SmackDown, number 25, we have the A-Train, 1133, no eliminations. Next several from Raw, which number 26, we have Maven, 819 eliminations. Goldust, 47 seconds eliminations. And Batista in his first Rumble match, 955, 2 eliminations. The last 2 entries are from SmackDown, number 29, Brock Lesnar, who won the match, 859 with 4 eliminations. And the Undertaker, who returning Undertaker, 645, 5 eliminations. The longest time, again, was Chris Jericho, 38-54. The most eliminations was by Jericho also with 6. And the time for this Royal Rumble match was 53-41. Overall, again, it was still a solid Royal Rumble, but it didn't have like that exciting spark in it as it had for the past couple years. So I'm gonna give this Rumble a B minus. It was still a good Rumble. I enjoyed it. Was better than just decent. It was a strong, solid Royal Rumble match, but I definitely see a little bit better than this, more excitement. And in between, there wasn't much going on really. Just 10 people being in the ring all the time. It just got a little boring at times. So I'll give it a B minus. What grade would you give the 2003 Royal Rumble match? Leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. And be sure as always, click that like and subscribe for more content to come on this channel. Follow me on Twitter, DemandAirBrady3. Now next we have 2004 Royal Rumble, a Royal Rumble that is probably either the best or the second best Royal Rumble match, but unfortunately, the WWE does all it can to pretty much not remind us and take this Rumble out of history because of what happened to the winner, which we'll talk about that in the next video. Thanks for watching, guys. This is the Club of Man 1993, and until then, have a good night.